Now, I know you've talked about it here on the show before, but I think it's worth repeating for this episode. What can you tell us about Vince asking you to work with the Ultimate Warrior here at the end of summer '91?
Oh my God, man. That brings back a bad memory.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were in Orlando wrestling, and Blackjack Lanza came to me and said, Vince is on the phone. You need to talk to him. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what have I done? you know? So I went to the phone, and Vince was on the line, and he said, okay. Said, we want you to work with Warrior. I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. I'm ready. And he says, well, before you work with Warrior, you got to go to him to his locker room and ask him if it's okay, if he'll work with you. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've got to go ask him to work with me? And he said, yeah, that's what you got to do. I'm like, oh my God. It was so humiliating.
I told Ted DiBiase this story on our podcast, Everybody's Got a Pod, and he was
Yeah.
he was in shock. He was like, Jake had to ask Warrior to work with him?
Yeah. So I went, locked on the door, and he yelled at me, come in, and I went in, and I said, listen, I just talked to Vince. He's talking about you and I doing something together. And he's like, okay, here's the way it goes. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about nothing. Just show up and be on time. Don't fuck up anything. I don't care about you or your family, you or your problems. I don't want to hear about any of that shit.
Yeah.
Just be there. And I was like, well, fuck yeah, okay. Are you serious? Yeah, it was, that sucked.
And like, you're not a guy who's afraid to stick up for yourself, but like under these circumstances, it's like, man, there's an awful lot of money on the line. You just got to
man,
bite
I
your
got to
tongue.
bite my lip, man.
So frustrating, man. And like, so I know Warrior's a top guy here, which implies that you'd be making top money running against him.
Yeah.
Did Vince or anybody come to you and say like, hey, Jake, here's kind of what you might expect as far as pay is concerned?
No.
There was never anything outlined. Just you knew it was implied.
I knew that's where the money was at.
Frustrating, man. And what's ironic here is that during the same time as I'm doing the research, it's like Warrior is not exactly an upstanding citizen, and here he is talking to you about making sure you're going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was he no-showed some events during this time due to like what he called personal issues. He was giving Vince a ton of shit about only wanting to work on weekends, which I think was a deal that Hogan had worked out somehow. So it's like he's not being a great employee here, and he's preaching to you about like behaving yourself during this. It's just absurd.